Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing great. It is really good to know that you are joining us again in this online service. Before we start with the sermon, I just wanted to share with you that this week, the prayer team and including myself, we're praying for the following prayer requests. We pray for Trinity Garza and Norma Garza. We pray for Richard Trevino, for the son-in-law of Esther Villasana. For Dolores, we pray for Maria Rodriguez. We pray for Ella Luna Garza, Angela Salinas, O'Brien Scott's family. We pray for the Vasquez family. We pray for Esther's daughter. We pray for Trevino's family. We pray for Beth, also for Lucia, also for Robert Hernandez, Vasquez family, I already said that, and Cristina, Susie's daughter. And I just wanted to share with you that we have been praying for this prayer request, and just as a reminder, if you have a prayer request, I want you I want to let you know that we are praying for you. That is a very important thing that I wanted to make sure that you know. We are praying for you. The prayer team, including myself in this prayer team, are praying for you. So if you have a prayer request, don't hesitate and comment below this video, or you can call me or the prayer team. The members of the prayer team are in the screen, and you can give us a text or give us a call or send an email, whatever is the preference to contact us, and we'll be praying for you. Also, we are going to be praying in our midweek prayer meeting. So I just wanted to let you know that, and just wanted to assure you that we're doing this because Bible says prayer without ceasing. That is something that God commanded us to do while we live in this world. So the prayer is our strength because we can seek God through prayer. And talking about prayer, today we are going to be talking about holy places. What are those holy places? Well, let me start with this story. First of all, have you ever climbed a hill? When the city I come from has a lot of mountains. It is surrounded by a lot of mountains, and they called it the city of the mountains, actually. And I remember one mountain in particular, and it is El Cerro de la Silla. And they called it like that because when you see the hill, it seems to have the shape of a horse saddle. And I remember that I was invited to climb this mountain. And I was a teenager when I was invited to climb the mountain. So I had all the energy to climb it, right? But it was the very first time that I did something like that. It is the very first time that I climbed a mountain. So what I remember the most about that are two things. Number one, how tired and sore I was that day. Man, I was exhausted and super thirsty that day. It was the worst. It was the worst, but also, at the same time, it was the best. Because the second thing that I remember is the view. It was a beautiful, beautiful view. You can see the whole city, the entire city from up there. And you can see, the other mountains that surrounded the city. It was beautiful. And my friends and I went up there just for fun. But in the Bible, we find people who went up the mountains for something else. When we go to the scriptures, we will find that people went up the mountains to meet God. Okay, traditionally, and in other cultures besides Hebrew culture, Jewish culture, Christian culture, in other cultures, other religions and traditions, traditionally, it was believed that gods and divinities revealed themselves in a mountain. They thought that God or divinity will manifest themselves just in the mountain, only in one place, only in that place. That's why they believed that they had to go up to the mountain to meet their own God or divinity, So, and this influenced in a way, the Hebrew believing and influence in a way, the Christian believing about God. But we're gonna develop this point. But what I'm trying to say is, this is the reason you find in the Bible that people went up the mountains to meet God, because this was influenced by this belief. So we find in both the Old Testament and New Testament, people went up the mountains to look for refuge, for instance, because they believed that God was over there. For instance, we have in Exodus chapter 3, verse 1, this example. I'm going to read it for you. Now Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian, and he led his flock to the west side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire and the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. He looked, and behold, the bush was burning, yet it was not consumed. And Moses said, I will turn aside to see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. Verse 4. When the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, when the Lord saw that Moses turned aside to see, that's very important, God called to him out of the bush, Moses. And he said, here I am. Then he said, do not come near, take your sandals off your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground. So, the story says that Moses was very busy shepherding the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro, when suddenly he was struck by the fact that there was something in the mountain, at the top of the mountain. So he went up the Mount Horeb. Out of curiosity, he approached to these things, and he saw a burn which was on fire, but yet was not consumed. And this caught his attention so bad that, guess what? He left the sheep behind. Moses left the flock to went up the mountain. Imagine Jethro, right? Now, back in those days, sheep were an important possession for the Hebrews. They were used for food. Their wool was used as clothing, and also they were used for sacrifices. So Moses left something as valuable as the sheep to go to the mountain to see God. And when I read this, I imagine Moses in that moment, and I can't think about Moses like he didn't even think about it. He just went up when he saw that thing. But on the other hand, could be a possibility that he was hesitant. whether to leave the ship or better not to go to the mountain. But you know the story. There was something, and it was this bush that caught his attention, that he finally went up the mountain. And when he was there, what happened? He met God, and God called him. In another instance, another example of this is in Luke chapter 6, verse 12. In these days, he went out to the mountain to pray. All night he continued in prayer to God. And when day came, he called his disciples and chose from them 12, whom he named apostles. This is Jesus praying because he was going to make a very important decision. Who were going to be his 12? So this happened just after Jesus had healed a man's hand. He took time to get away a bit from all the hustle and bustle and to be with the Father. And this was not the only time that he did this. He was always looking for a place to meet God after being with the crowd. And now, after a long day of ministry, you know, Jesus healing the sick, preaching the word, teaching the people, despite how busy or tired he was, Jesus always went up the mountain to have a time with God and set time aside to go to a place and meet the Father. Remember, what did Moses do? He set aside time to go to this burning bush. At the same way, this was a need for Jesus. Now, talking about God being, at the top of the mountain. Does this mean that God was only in one place? No, of course not. From the beginning, the Bible teaches that God has been everywhere, okay? Because God is omnipresent. However, choosing a place to be with God was a practice in which they sanctified or consecrated that place, if you will, to be with God alone. Also, in different circumstances, Jesus used the mountain to do his ministry. For instance, John chapter 6, he fed the 5,000 people up to the mountain. Matthew 5, he preached the Sermon of the Mount up to the mountain. So, Jesus used this place to reveal, to manifest himself. God used this place to manifest to Moses. Okay, but the point is that ordinary place that Jesus used to use for work in his ministry, or that ordinary place where Moses had this encounter with God, it was just that, an ordinary place, but also it was a holy place to meet God. So people went to the mountains because traditionally, when I say traditionally, it is necessary to understand that in the other traditions, they believe that they met God there. But God is everywhere. And I want to emphasize this. This is an attribute of God. He is omnipresent. Psalm 139 verse 7 says, "Where shall I go from your spirit? Or where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost part of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. So, if we have this verse, if we have this revelation that God is everywhere, why then did the people think that God could be only in one place? Well, we said that mountains were considered holy places because that was where the person met God. But instead of God reveal himself only in one place, or God descend only to one place to speak, as the other traditions believed, it was considered a holy place because it was there they could be alone with God. In other words, mountains were places where people were apart to get away from everyone and everything and to be able to be with God alone. So, with all being said, I have a question. What is your holy place? As ordinary as a place can be, make it holy. Set it aside to be with God. You know, in these times that we are not meeting in person every Sunday as we used to do it, I think it's a good time to have a holy place. Especially if your holy place was only the church itself. No matter how ordinary the place can be, it can become a holy place if that is the place where you are with God. So, while driving your car, the car could be your holy place. You know, that bed where you sleep can become your holy place. Or that park that you go for a walk can be your holy place. Or let's say the break room in your workplace, that could be your holy place. You know, I'm talking about ordinary places that can become holy places because God is everywhere. We don't have to wait to be at the top of the mountain. Now, this doesn't mean that when we will get back to church again, you won't come, right? Because God is everywhere, right? This doesn't mean that. That is another topic, and we maybe we'll talk about that later. But I just wanted to read to you this verse about that. Hebrews 10:25, because the Bible teaches that it is very important to gather together. It says, not neglected to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. So it is necessary not to neglect to meet together. That's why we provided these alternatives online. But when the day will come and we will get back to church, I expect you to be here, right? I expect us to be here. So even when we can't meet together or be limited of seeing each other, God is everywhere. And if God is everywhere, will we be able to set time aside to be able to meet with God, to have a moment to be with God? Will we make that ordinary place an holy place? You know, my prayer in these strange and difficult times is that we don't end each day without going to the holy place. Because, you know, when we go up to the mountain, when we go to our holy places, we will discover that it will require from us to to leave this ship. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should quit your job, no. But what I'm saying is, what is that so valuable for you that you can let go, that is keeping you from being up the mountain? What is that so valuable for you that you can let go, that is making you feel hesitant whether go to my holy place or not? You know, I met this person, and he was a very strong Christian, and he was a man of prayer, and I was impacted for his life of prayer. But talking with him, he shared with me that his holy place, if you will, was the restroom. Yeah, he had to go to the restroom to have a time with God in prayer or the Bible, or meditate in God. Because his family has another belief. It was another religion, another tradition, and it was forbidden for him to pray to our God. It was forbidden, and if they found out that he did this, he will be punished, and he won't get the benefits of being in that family. So he needed to pretend to be very busy in the restroom to be with God. That was his holy place. And when I heard this, I asked, did everything he owned have value? Yes, of course. But the most valuable thing for this friend of mine was to be with God. So I want to finish with this. Don't let the ship keep you from going up to the mountain. Don't let the ship or anything else to keep you from going to the holy place and meet God. Go up the mountain. Do what Moses did. Do what Jesus did. Let us go to that holy place and be with God. This is the sermon for today. This is my piece of advice and my prayer for you. See you next week, and God bless you.
Church is wherever you are. Thank you for being part of our church online. We want to remind you that our midweek prayer time will be next Wednesday at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Even when we are not having in-person meetings, your giving matters. So we invite you to give online. Here's how you can do it. Go to our website, agapememorialumc.org. On the menu bar at the top, you will see the Give button. Click here. In this page, click on the Make a Donation button. In the first section, you will need to choose your fund. You will be able to choose if you want to donate to our COVID-19 Relief Fund, or if you want to give your regular offering or tithe, click General Church. Then, Contributions, and the amount you would like to give. After this, you will see a new section. Choose if you want to give by credit card or a bank account. Fill out your card and billing information, and when you're done, just click on Submit, and you finished giving online. So quick and simple. Remember that another way to do this is to mail your contributions to the church. Just put your contribution in an envelope and send it to our address. Thank you for your support.